What's up, everybody? This is Odell Bazell. Wow, hope today is a good day for you. This week seems for me to be going by really fast. I don't know how it feels to you. I've been able to have some really cool conversations with a lot of people, but I wanted to just share this insight because in the midst of everything that's going on, we all know where we are as a community, as a global community, as a society. um, it gives you time to reflect. And a lot of times when people reflect, they think about the past, they think about the present, they think about the future. They think about what could have been, they think about what has been, and maybe what will be. And one thing that I've learned, and a lot of people, a lot of successful people know this, is that we as human beings have to learn to ask better questions if we want to live a better life. Tony Robbins, famous motivational speaker, famous, entrepreneur, and all that. He said that the quality of your life is determined by the quality of questions you ask yourself. And so, the quality of questions that you ask and also answer are going to kind of steer you in the way that you go. And so in this video, I just want to share 5 questions that I believe you should ask yourself in life. And I got these questions, these aren't mine. I got these questions from someone who I consider a mentor from afar, who is no longer with us, Dr. Miles Monroe. Heard a bunch of his sermons. I didn't get a chance to personally meet him, but when I tell you the things that I learned from him have really helped me, in my life, I hope that some of these questions kind of spark that for you. So I want to ask you, first of all, before I go into that, if you could just comment as you're watching this, or even as you're listening to the recording or what have you, just kind of comment who is a mentor from afar that you never met them personally, but their impact on your life has been greater than a lot of the people you've met personally. Just kind of put that name in the comments. Like I said, Dr. Miles Monroe, he's one of those people for me, for sure. Another person, Jim Rohn, somebody for sure I've never met in person, and he passed away. But I consider him and his work, I consider, that just a huge influence on my life. Somebody else, Og Mandino, who wrote uh, just masterful works of literature as it relates to books. Like success is like self help. He wrote self help books, but they were like fiction books. And so I basically have a whole company, a whole organization around the stuff that Og taught. So going into the questions, 5 questions, cinco, 5 questions. The first question is, who am I? Who am I? And when I say these are questions you should ask yourself, and these are questions that you should answer for yourself, these are not easy questions, and these are not questions that you don't have to think about. Like, you're gonna have to think about these things. You're gonna have to, um, you know, sit in deep thought and reflection about these things. But who am I? That's the first question. The second question is, where am I from? The third question is, why am I here? The fourth question is, what am I capable of doing while I'm here? And then the fifth question is, how will I be remembered by those that I was assigned to? And really quick, I'll go over each one. But these questions, you all, are so paramount. They're so paramount, and they're just 5. There's tons of other questions, and I'm working on an, I guess, an outline, or like a manuscript or what have you, just questions that you should ask, because when my kids get older, when my, hopefully, if I have nieces or nephews one day, my, just people that I know. I want to be able to leave them with just, hey, if you ask yourself these questions, you'll be more likely in life to succeed. You'll be more likely in life to push through and push forward. So, going to who am I? Right now, in the society that we live in, this is a question. This is not a simple question. It was never a simple question. But because human beings are so multifaceted, because there's so many different things that you can do, heck, because there's so many different options, you could be whatever you want to be. And I'm not saying this to be political. I'm not saying this to be controversial. But now, if me as a man, if I said I don't want to be a man anymore, I want to be a woman because that's how I felt I was born. I feel like I was a woman placed in a man's body. Then I can literally now I can call myself a woman, and I can even identify as a woman. You can identify whatever, however you want to identify. You can. And again, I'm not talking bad about that. What I'm saying about that is now socially, we have so many options. We have so many options. Like, and I love to use this example. 50 years ago, let's just say 50 years ago, my parents were alive 50 years ago. 50 years ago, if you said, hey, what do you want to eat? You couldn't pick Chipotle or Cadoba, or you couldn't pick but so many options. 100 years ago, when my great grandparents were alive, where do you want to eat? Well, we'll eat whatever we got. That's all you're gonna eat. So when your options are limited, it's easier to make a choice. But now that we have so many options, it's hard to make a choice. And so what I'm saying to you is you have to make a choice. You have to settle on something for a season. And that season could go on for a long time. 15 years ago, if you would have said, hey, Odell, who are you? Like, answer that question. Who am I? I wouldn't have answered, oh, I'm a father, I'm a husband, I wouldn't have answered that. I'm an entrepreneur. I wouldn't have answered the question the same way. So time is going to change your identity. It will. And so that's what you have to understand and know. And people say different things like the only thing constant in life is change. But for the season that you're in, you have to know who you are. Just like when you get into an airplane, when you get into a car, you have to know where you're going in that time. Now, I fly usually, when things were open, um, I would fly sometimes 100, 150 flights a year. I would go different places a lot. Or I would go through the same place. Like I would go from Greensboro to Atlanta or from Raleigh to Atlanta. I would usually fly through Atlanta because that's a Delta hub and I fly Delta. So when you're going through that, you're going through the same place, but you're not going the same direction. So you have to know exactly where you're going. So who am I is really about for this season, who am I obligated to? For this season of life, who if you're a child growing up in your parents home, you're obligated, your responsibility is to check in on them. If you, like I said, I'm a husband, I'm a father, I'm obligated to my wife and my kids. That's who I'm obligated to. So you've got to know who you are. Who am I? That's huge. A lot of people, they struggle with that for various reasons. Settle on something for this season. The second question, where am I from? Where am I from? And you can go a couple different ways with this. You can go, who is my God? You could go, who are my ancestors? I like to do both. I like to do both. I believe in the God of the Bible. That's just what I believe. That's my belief system. So in the Bible, God talks about the thou shall nots, right? The things that you shouldn't do, and there's a reason why you shouldn't do those. But whether or not you agree with the reasoning or not, they're designed to protect you from certain calamities and pitfalls that you will go into. If you're a liar, if you're a thief, if you're, you do all that stuff, you get into that world and you go there. So where you're from, it talks about your genesis, but it also talks about a lot of the behaviors that you have. Well, I don't do this because of this. I don't watch this because of where I'm from, because of who my God is, and because my ancestors. And so you got to think about all of that because okay, I have trust issues probably because of the way I was raised. We're all products of the way I was raised or the experiences that we had as we were growing up, but specifically how we're raised. And so you got to understand that, like, where you're from is super important. Why am I here? That speaks to purpose. Why am I here? And in this season, as of this recording, when you're sitting around and oh, I want to go to the movies, can't go to the movies. Oh, I want to go out to eat and sit down and eat, can't go sit down and eat. I want to go, I want to go play basketball, I want to go to the gym, I can't do those things because of where we are. You think about, why am I here? Not specifically like why I'm here in grandma's basement right now, or why I'm here, but why you even made it to this point of consciousness, like why you even made it to this point in your life, like what's your purpose, like why are you here? And I believe everybody's purpose underneath the sound of my voice is to give the world a glimpse of heaven by what you do, what you have, and who you are. That's your purpose, to give the world a glimpse of heaven by what you do, what you have, and who you are. And so, in saying that, you've got to perpetuate good things in life. And so, even when bad things are happening, like bad is happening all over the globe, literally the same type of bad in many ways to people, you've got to be really, really plugged in and tuned into how you can make it better, how you can make it better. How you can continually shed light on dark situations. That's that's what I think. That's what I believe. Now you got to answer that question for yourself. Why are you here? The fourth question is huge. It speaks to potential. What am I capable of doing while I'm here? And I shared a video yesterday that talked about, I want to be the greatest. And I'll never forget this show. I love the show. Everybody Hates Chris is loosely based on Chris Rock's stand up and his life. And the episode is he's going into the counselor's office when he's in high school, and the counselor says to him, well, you're not going to go to college, so if you could get a blue collar job or manual labor job, you'll be good. That's the best you can do based on your test scores and all that stuff. So that was the choice. Then his white friend, Chris's white friend Greg, goes in, and then he comes out and he looks disappointed just like Chris looked. And so Chris says, oh man, what happened? And Greg says, oh, no, Chris says, oh man, what, they told you that you couldn't go to college too? And Greg says, no, he told me that I can do anything that I want. Do you realize how much pressure that is on me? And when I first saw the show, when I first saw the episode, I was like, that's funny because, of course, there's a lot of dynamics going there, right? Like, oh, he's a white kid, he can do whatever, versus Chris is a black kid, from the projects, he can't do whatever, and stuff like that. But I think that more of us suffer from that now in this present day, the idea of there's so much we could do that we don't do anything. Oh, I could go here, I could do this, my potential is infinite. Wow. Settle on something. Settle on something. You have unlimited potential, but you have limited time. And so when you think about what you're capable of doing while you're here, think about where your passions, where your talents, and where your interests intersect. Think about those things first. Then once you master that, then you can do some other things, but you have to figure that out though. You have to figure that out. Like, what are you capable of doing? Are you capable of writing something, creating something in an art form? Are you capable of building something, inventing something? Are you capable and do you want to do that? That's the thing. Like, are you capable and do you have the desire? That's what's important. And as you start answering that question, what am I capable of? You if you nail it down to that passion and to that interest and to where those talents are, then I think it'll be easier for you to lean towards that. And then the last question: how will I be remembered by those I was assigned to? Mm, huge question. And this question was really, and it's one of those questions that you don't really know, because how are we remembered? We don't know. We won't know how we're really remembered once we're gone. I don't think. I don't know if, if God allows us to, right, like, look at, oh, that's what she really thought of me, and that's what he really thought. I don't know what life looks like after we close our eyes and aren't on this side of life anymore. But I think when you start to really talk to the people that you are assigned to. And what do I mean by who you're assigned to? Well, when you touch down and you come into consciousness, there are people taking care of you. You didn't pick those people. You didn't pick those people. When you touch down and you go to school, you didn't pick your classmates. You didn't pick your teacher. Maybe when you go to college, you pick your school, and maybe you can choose your professor, but you don't know who's sitting next to you. You don't know who's sitting next to you in the cafeteria. Like, there are people, there's a lot of life that we control, but there's a lot of it that we don't. We're assigned to certain people. I don't know why some people are my friends and other people aren't, and I like some people better. I don't know, but we're assigned to some people. And how will you be remembered by those you were assigned to? Here's why this is really important: because their memory of you, your influence on them, all of that helps create a better them in some way. And so my children, I'm assigned to my children. I'm a father. I'm assigned to them. I chose my wife, but we chose each other. I'm assigned to her. The people that I coach, like, we're assigned to each other. How will I be remembered by those people that I was assigned to? That's what you have to think about. You don't have to worry about it. And so many times we're focused on, if I could get famous to a bunch of people that don't really know me, then I can be rich and I can take care of my family. I get it. But like my good friend Aurel Moody said in our interview we had a couple days ago, he said, you don't want to be a public success and a private failure. And so we need to be focused on, how will my sister, how will my brother, how will those people in my life, even if they hurt me, because the people that are closest to us can hurt us the most, how will I be remembered by those people? That's what we need to be tuned into and plugged into, because that speaks to legacy. How will you be remembered? And I'll end on this. I mentioned it the other day. I'm named after my grandfather, Odell Bazell the first. When I hear my dad talk about his dad, when I hear my aunts talk about their dad, when I hear my grandma talk about her late husband, it's like, whenever I leave, and I plan on being here till I'm 100, whenever I leave, I don't want to be remembered like that. I don't want to be remembered like he is remembered. And so that's one thing that I think about. And if we think about those things, how people at our jobs will remember us, like all that stuff, you want them to have a memory that influences them to do better, and not influences them to be better because of, and not be better in spite of, if that makes sense. But I hope this helped you. I hope you got those 5 questions, pass them along. Those questions are huge. Remember, the quality of your life is determined by the quality of questions you ask yourself. I just think as human beings, we don't ask enough questions from different perspectives and different thoughts. We just, make statements. And then as we make statements, they become facts, and we try not to refute facts. But if we have questions, our minds can be creative and create solutions and answers to those questions. So I hope this helped you. I'll be back. I'm going to interview somebody who I love to life. I've known her for a long time. So yeah, I'm excited about that. We'll see you on the next one. Y'all take care.